Okay. Map and territory, toothpicks, concepts, abstractions, self. Self. Self is a concept. Our concepts are not synonymous with reality. We have map and territory. We have toothpick and territory. Self is the toothpick, as territory is to what is self pointing at? What does the word self point at? Is it pointing at territory? It's a body, brain. Is that self? And what is it? Is it body or is it brain? If I cut off my arm, am I less self? Well, if we define self by body, by matter, yeah, okay. But usually, I mean, that doesn't quite work in the language that we use. You wouldn't say you are less you when you have lost a finger. The person that you are. Now we're talking about people, person. What does person point to? Person, self. So I asked you, is the right side of my left index finger, is that self? Is it part of self? If we're talking about part of self, then we're saying that there are multiple parts to this self. This self is comprised of parts. But if we're saying no, that is self, okay, then I cut it off. Have I lost myself? What do I mean myself? Weird. And usually this isn't how people respond. People would identify their self with the right, specifically the right side of their left index finger. It might say something like, okay, this is getting warmer. This is getting warmer. This is getting warmer. Sometimes people talk about it being in the heart, the chest, the body. I think ancient Egyptians used to think that thoughts came from the heart rather than from the brain. Most modern humans today, if you ask them where are you located, and like stop when I'm about there, and as it's usually around right here, here, maybe right in the eyes. Self seems to be more associated with this region of the body. Okay, well, let's take a look at this closer. Self is more like in the head. The head. Okay, so the head. Is it hair? No, we can shave off the hair. I'm still myself, right? I could break my nose and myself is not broken. It's still just a part of this system of head. So there's parts of head. Okay, is it in the jaw? If I lose my jaw, am I no longer myself? If I lose my ear, am I no longer myself? Okay, so these don't seem to be, they seem to just be more parts of the body, right? It's not quite the self, because I can talk about my ear, my nose, my mouth, my chin, my jaw. Okay, so it doesn't really seem to be the head. It's even close. It's more like up in here. Okay, so we got this thing in between the ears, centered within a skull. We know that there is something housed in there. We've seen images of the brain, and we've been told that this thing that looks like this some editing tricks I hope work. This is what's in between our two ears. It's what is producing thought. Okay, so we don't ever actually see it, but we conceptualize about it. Is that what the self is? Is the self the brain? Well, I think we're getting warmer, sort of. We're getting warmer to what people typically mean. But notice that we still say stuff like my brain. My brain is doing this while I would prefer to be doing this. My brain makes me crave high calorie food, but I would prefer to eat low calorie food. I, separate and distinct from my brain, am being led in ways that I would prefer to not be led. Okay, so what is that? What are we referring to there? What are we talking about when I say I and my brain and I being separate? Blah blah blah. Okay, well let's keep running the same logic that I was running through about, well, hair isn't really self, but brain. Okay, let's call brain self, even though that we say words like I have a brain, my brain is separate and distinct from me, and my brain makes me do stuff differently than what I want to do. Okay, so there's different lobes to the brain, right? It's comprised of trillions of cells, it's comprised of lobes, it's comprised of different parts. It's not a singular thing, right? Different parts of the brain respond in different ways and at different times than other parts of the brain. Different parts of the brain are specialized to do stuff that other parts of the brain are not. As I understand the science, I mean, it's so we are closer to brain being self, even though our language is really awkward around that. What if our occipital lobes stop functioning properly? i.e., some rare brain disease causes functioning in that area to reduce. Well, what happens is your visual processing is affected. Your ability to process visual information is reduced, in either you can't see or you can't recognize particular objects. Let's say that happens. Let's say now your brain no longer has its functioning occipital lobe and you can no longer see. Are you no longer yourself? You might say that you are less of yourself. The self that you were was one that can see, and now you can't see. You are no longer yourself. What are you now? Are you still a self? Yeah, you're just a self that can't see as well, right? This is goofy. Okay, well, let's just keep running this logic. We've got this motor cortex, part of the brain that is sending signals through the nervous system to the muscles to get them to do very complicated and rhythmic, sometimes speaking, vibrating vocal cords, contracting a diaphragm in the lungs. Is that where the self is? Well, if that is damaged and you're no longer able to move your limbs, are you no longer a self? Ah, I wish to move my limbs, but my brain is preventing me. Here you are, separate and distinct from another part of the brain. Okay, so the self isn't located in the occipital lobe. It's not located in the motor cortex. Is it in the limbic system? Well, what is the limbic system? Limbic system is emotional processing. Damage to this region means you struggle in social situations. If you're a psychopath, the parts of the limbic system associated with empathy might be reduced or non-existent, and therefore, yeah, you don't feel any sort of remorse for your actions and you behave accordingly. Okay, I have a limbic system. My limbic system is controlling or producing or associated with my emotions. My emotions. My emotions are something that happens to me. We're still using language that separates out emotions from this me thing here because we're talking about me and my emotions and me. I am separate and distinct from those parts of the brain. Okay, we're still saying some pretty weird things here. Remember, we started with the toothpick. I don't know if it's a nervous habit or what, but it's fine. We started with index finger, right side of the left index finger, just that. Is that self? No, okay. Is it this? Is it this? The hair? Is it the ears? Is it the nose? Is it jaw? Is it the brain? Is it the occipital lobe? Is it the motor cortex? Is it the limbic system? No, we're still using words like I am me, standing separate and distinct from all these different things. I have these things. I am a subject, a victim of these things. Okay. So where is the self here? What are we talking about? One more important lobe that we haven't talked about yet, and that's the prefrontal cortex. Okay. Handle stuff like executive functioning, I believe speaking. There's an area called Broca's area in the prefrontal. I think it's the prefrontal cortex. Huh? It's like this. I don't know where it's located. I don't care. I kind of care. It matters, but it doesn't matter for us. Prefrontal cortex handles long-term planning, rational thought, other stuff. It is generally, like, oftentimes that is the space that when it's talked about, they will say, this is the you part of the brain. This is your active thinking. This is your thinking part of the brain. This is where you are located. Let's just notice, though, that the prefrontal cortex is comprised of parts, comprised of billions of neurons. It's comprised of matter, just like every other lobe in the brain. And we still use language like, I have a prefrontal cortex. We're running out of brain lobes here, okay? I hope you understand where this is going. I have a prefrontal cortex. Says my prefrontal cortex, right? What? This doesn't make sense. I have a prefrontal cortex, and yet that language flows out of me as naturally as anything. I have a prefrontal cortex. I have an occipital lobe. I, this self can conceptualize and think and wonder and rationalize and try to make sense of all of this. And yet, this utterly does not make sense to try to think of things in this way, to think of this self as something separate and distinct from me. What is it that is saying the word self? It's not one thing, many things. It's a very complicated process. That is what is saying, I am a self.